The United Nations has used a new land route on Tuesday in a bid to try and deliver food to northern Gaza for the very first time in 3 weeks. The global pressure continues to grow on the state of Israel that has blocked off humanitarian aid into the tiny Gaza Strip. And there is a famine that seems to be rampant across the Gaza Strip. The World Food Programme's convoy used an Israeli military road that runs alongside the Gaza border fence to reach the enclave's north. The World Food Programme spokesperson Shaza Mohrabi said that enough food for about 25,000 people has been delivered to the Gaza city in the early hours of Tuesday. There is one meal for 25,000 people in a place where there are estimated 400,000 Palestinians who are starving. Now, the Israeli army has also released some footage of what it says are humanitarian aid trucks heading into northern Gaza. The United Nations has warned that at least about 576,000 people in the Gaza Strip are on the brink of starvation. The White House National Security Advisor has said that the United States is working overtime with the State of Israel to increase the amount of humanitarian aid by ground, both through the Kerem Shalom and also through a new crossing via land that has been reaching southern Gaza through Rafah crossing. The United Nations has been pushing the State of Israel for several weeks now to allow for humanitarian aid such as food and medicines inside the Gaza Strip. Once inspected in the south to use the military road along the Gaza border fence, the plan was of course for trucks to cross into Gaza from the Israeli village Be'eri. Now, the United States, Jordan and others have conducted some airdrops of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, some of which has actually ended up in the sea. On Tuesday, a ship carrying 200 tons of aid left Cyprus in a pilot project to open a sea corridor to deliver supplies. While the United Nations officials have welcomed new aid routes, they have stressed that there is simply no substitute for land access into Gaza that has been blocked off by Israel.
And I can tell you that they jointly welcomed the opening of a maritime corridor to deliver much needed additional humanitarian assistance by sea to Gaza. They commended the leadership of Cyprus and the support extended by the European Commission, Qatar, the UAE, the United Kingdom, the United States, and others. They added that for aid delivery at scale, there is no meaningful substitute to the many land routes and entry points from Israel into Gaza.
And the United States, which has been the biggest backer of Israel in this war and has been sending more and more weapons to Israel, is now urging its partners and allies to fund a privately run operation to send some humanitarian aid into Gaza that could begin before a much larger U.S. military effort. If funding is secured, then the plan could bring ashore large amounts of aid in a matter of weeks. And if this plan goes through, then it is being reported that this plan could be faster than the U.S. military's floating pier system, that the Pentagon says could take up to 60 days to become operational. While the U.S. government is prioritizing the military's plan, the commercial project could, of course, complement that effort by providing support onshore in Gaza. The American President Joe Biden has ruled out allowing American troops to set foot inside the Gaza enclave, even as they build the pier system. And according to Gaza officials, over 31,000 Palestinians have so far been killed in Israel's military offensive that has now dragged on for over 5 months. Now, hundreds of Jordanians also demonstrated close to the Israeli embassy in the capital city of Amman. Chanting pro-Palestinian slogans, they demanded for an immediate ceasefire and for humanitarian aid to the Palestinians. In Gaza, on the occasion of the first day of fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, Jordan, which lies at the heart of the Arab-Israeli conflict, hosts 2.4 million Palestinian refugees, which is the largest number of such refugees amongst Israel's neighbors who were expelled from their homes in 1948 by Israel. Now, many of its citizens are of Palestinian origin. And WION's Jody Cohen has sent us this report from Ra'anana on the uptick in violence in West Bank in recent days. And also whether West Bank is likely to be a new front that is opening in this war, isn't it?
So the Palestinians have said that 2 people have been killed in an IDF raid in Jenin. The IDF hasn't commented on this specifically, but we know that over the past 2 years, we've seen an IDF attempt to crack down on West Bank terror groups. That's because Israel says that Hamas and Islamic Jihad have been gaining strength in the northern West Bank and that the Palestinian Authority has failed to stop weapons smuggling. And Defense Minister Gallant said that Iran is smuggling weapons into the West Bank and that Israelis should brace for terror over Ramadan. In the latest, 2 Israelis have been wounded in a stabbing near Jerusalem on Wednesday morning. 2 days ago, intelligence indicated that a West Bank Palestinian was on his way to Tel Aviv to carry out a terror attack, which was thwarted. Now, we don't really hear about too many attempted terror attacks on global news, and that's simply because there are just too many of them to report them all. We know that Hamas has called on the Palestinians to march on the Al-Aqsa Temple Mount compound in Jerusalem. We've seen riots there in previous years during Ramadan, and the West Bank and Jerusalem could see an uptick in violence in the coming weeks. Now, to try to prevent this, Israel has said that there'll be the same number of worshippers will be allowed to pray in Jerusalem during Ramadan as in previous years.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.